Hey guys, so I did record chapter 1, Saving Destiny, Destiny's Secrets, in the back of an ambulance. It was live streamed from the back of an ambulance, yes, so I thought that was pretty darn cool, and I do want to keep that post up, but when I looked at it, it was kind of choppy and messed up, and it just didn't come out right. You couldn't hear the story. It just wasn't right. So I'm going to redo it right here, and this is going to be the real chapter 1 in Destiny's Secrets. So here we go. Chapter 1, Destiny's Secrets. We're starting off with Mom's perspective. She was slipping for me fast, sliding into a world where no one could reach her. As far back as I can remember, Destiny has always loved stuffed animals. Every night, I would tuck her in bed and then say goodnight to each teddy bear. And give each of them a pat on the head. If I even forgot one, Destiny would notice and wouldn't let me leave until each teddy bear had been given their nighttime love tap. Her issues started becoming apparent at around age 5. But we just kept hoping she'd outgrow them. Maybe she was just sensitive. Destiny would have episodes where the tag on her clothes would be too tight, or a little girl would be too rough, or a little girl on the playground looked at her funny. This would set her off into a crying jag, where she would throw any objects in reach, rip up the carpets, slam doors, even throw herself on the floor, kicking and screaming. She would be unable to calm down for hours. We tried taking toys away when she misbehaved. We tried rewarding her with small prizes like candy or fidget toys, or bouncy balls on days when she had fewer outbursts. We tried putting her in her room to limit stimuli, but that only made her carry on longer and louder. We were unaware that the most distressing stimuli were coming from within. As Destiny got older, Alan and I both felt there was something Destiny was hiding from us. She had too many secrets crammed inside her, but we couldn't get her to spit them out. Now it's Destiny's perspective. Destiny. Blinky is my special stuffed yellow lammy. My parents tucked her into my crib the very first night they brought me home from the hospital. At first, she was almost as big as I was. Now, she fits in my arms to fill them up perfectly. I don't go anywhere without Blinky. Blinky knows things that no one else in the world knows. I can talk to her in ways I can't talk to anyone else. Sometimes I just think something, and she immediately just knows it. She makes me feel calmed down inside, especially when the bad man is being very loud. The bad man scares me. He punishes me when I don't listen to him. Sometimes he sucks me in, which is when everything gets dark, cold, and far away. I feel like I'm spinning really fast, and all I can hear is his cackling in my ears. Other times, he threatens me with knives. Sometimes, he says a whole lot of stuff at once and chops up my thinking. I just have to hold on to Blinky and hope the punishing stops. There's another man I hear, whose name is the storyteller. He narrates what I'm doing, thinking, and feeling, like the narrator in George of the Jungle, gone all creepy and maniacal. When he wants me to do something, he narrates me doing it, and I have to follow exactly what he says, or he and the bad man get really loud and punish me even longer. Other times, I'll hear random chatter or whispers, or I'll see blood gushing down from the ceiling, or cameras coming out of the walls. They mash up my thinking so badly that I don't know what I'm doing. So I just end up trying to do whatever I can to make it all stop. No one else can hear the bad man, the storyteller, the chatter, or the whispers. No one else can see the blood pouring down the walls, or the cameras that record my every move. All this has been happening since I was 5 years old. When I was 8, my stomach started hurting all the time. At first, it was a gnawing, burning pain. Then, it was a feeling of extreme fullness and bloating, along with a sharper, crampy pain when I moved around too much after eating. I would eat my lunch at school, even though I wasn't hungry, because I knew lunchtime was for eating your lunch. So I would eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, an apple, and a little baggie of Cheez-Its with a water bottle. After I finished my lunch, I would feel so sick. Kind of like I ate Thanksgiving dinner 3 times in a row and then went to Friendly's and got a triple scoop ice cream sundae. My mouth would begin to water. My stomach would begin to heave. Desperately, I would run to the bathroom and barely make it there in time to throw it all up. The bad man said it was because I had poison in me. He had me convinced that I did. I tried to never let myself hug my mom for too long, in case the poison would spread to her. Halfway through 3rd grade, I just gave up and stopped eating my lunch. In July, after the end of 3rd grade, when I had my 9-year-old checkup, where I had grown an inch but lost 4 pounds, my doctor's face got all pinched up and her eyes got really serious. She needs to start drinking 3 Pediasures a day and come back in 6 months. If she hasn't gained any weight, we will have to start running a whole bunch of tests, she told my mom. The tests will show how crazy you are, and then no one will love you anymore, the bad man told me. I shivered and tried to ignore him. I would drink the Pediasure in the morning and throw up about half of it. Then, when I tried to eat my breakfast, my stomach hurt so bad and I was so nauseous and full feeling that I couldn't eat any of my breakfast. At lunch, I didn't even try to drink the Pediasure. I already knew I couldn't hold anything down at lunchtime. At dinner, I would try to drink the last Pediasure, but would only get a few sips in before I felt full to bursting and could feel the Pediasure sloshing around in my stomach, threatening to come right back up. Some of it would make its way back up into my throat, and I would have to swallow its nastiness back down. I just can't do it, I would tell my mom. Just try, she would plead with me. I am, but I can't manage it. I'm going to throw up. I know, my mom would say, with so much sadness and worry in her eyes. 6 months later, my weight was down even further. I'm going to refer her to a pediatric gastroenterologist, my doctor told my mom. 2 weeks later, my mom brought me to the new special stomach doctor. He ordered a whole bunch of tests. I had to do a test where they brought me to the pediatric procedures unit. The night before at midnight, they let me stop trying to eat and drink stuff that made me so sick. When I got to the pediatric procedures unit, they brought me to a stretcher and had me change into a hospital gown with tigers on it, and then put something called an IV in my arm. The needle poke hurt a lot, but I didn't let myself cry. I wanted to be brave. Instead, I hung on to Blinky and buried my face in her yellow wool. This test is called an endoscopy, the nurse who put the IV in my arm explained, as she put stickers all over my chest and hooked them up to wires that connected to a screen next to the bed, with numbers and spiky green lines on it. We are going to take you into the procedure room, and then the doctor is going to put a little plastic piece with a hole to breathe through in your mouth to bite down on. After that, we'll squirt some happy juice medicine in through this IV line I just put into you. Will it hurt? I asked. Nope, it will just make you go to sleep. The next thing you know, you'll be waking up in the recovery room, and your mom will be right there," she explained. The bad man was trying to convince me that I was not going to wake up, that the happy juice medicine was going to poison me. The storyteller told me the same thing. Before I had a chance to say anything to anyone about stopping the test, they were wheeling me in to a big cold room with gleaming metal equipment, big TV screens with lots of numbers on them, and lots of paper blue sheets. In the middle of the room was a bed/table. "Can you climb onto this table for us? Your little lamb can come too," one of the people in the room asked me. There was a stool next to the table. It had Disney characters on it. I loved Disney. "Don't do it," hissed the bad man. I was shivering, and it wasn't from the cold room. I knew I needed to find out why I couldn't eat, and the special stomach doctor had explained that this was one of the most important tests. "She stayed in the stretcher and refused to climb on the procedure unit table," narrated the storyteller. For the first time in my life, I ignored them. Cradling Blinky, I shakily used the Disney stool to climb onto the table. As soon as I was on the table, they put the little piece in my mouth. It made me feel like I couldn't breathe. I started to get all panicky, but seconds later, the nurse told me she was giving me the happy juice. And then, I was opening my eyes, and I was in a different room, in a bed, and my mom was sitting next to me, in a chair, writing on her laptop. Before I could say anything, the stomach doctor came in. "Her stomach is barely contracting at all," he told my mom. "It's not able to move food through. There's a ton of Pediasure and undigested food just sitting in her stomach. It's probably about a week's worth. I think she has a disease called gastroparesis, where her stomach is so slow it's pretty much paralyzed. To confirm, we'll have to do a gastric emptying study. It's the gold standard test for gastroparesis." A month later, I did the gastric emptying study. "You have severe gastroparesis," the stomach doctor told me. He had me start taking a small white pill called Redone. He also told me that I couldn't have anything with milk in it, and that I would only be able to drink liquids. I would not be allowed to eat. "Take little sips throughout the day instead of drinking a whole cup all at once," he told me. "In the future, we may be looking at other treatment options," he told my mom. "She may require a type of feeding tube, other medications, or surgery. But there is no cure for gastroparesis. It's a chronic condition that you will need to learn to cope with. It may get better or worse over time, or it may wax and wane," the stomach doctor explained to my mom. The Reglan and the liquid diet didn't help. By the time I was 10, I had lost so much weight, I looked like I had escaped a concentration camp. The stomach doctor was following me closely, and one day, after a blood test, he told my mom to take me to the hospital. My mom called my dad, and they rushed me down to the ER, where they told my parents that I was almost dying from starvation. I was immediately admitted and whisked off to the pediatric procedures unit, where they gave me more happy juice and put a special tube called an NJ tube up my nose, down my throat and esophagus, past my stomach, and into the middle of my small intestine. It was supposed to feed me by bypassing my paralyzed stomach. I stayed about a month on the pediatric medical floor. They pumped me up with tube feed through the tube in my nose. I got IV fluids through little tubes in my arms and hands. There were little stickers all over my chest and belly, and they watched my heart on a TV screen. My pee got sucked out by a tube between my legs. The nurses came in with little syringes of medication to stop me from throwing up. They injected them into the IVs in my hands and arms. The nurses and doctors paid attention to the way my eyes tracked things that no one else could see. They noticed how often I cried and got intensely upset. How I whispered to myself. Couldn't make eye contact when talking to people. Randomly screamed and yelled. Had a blank look in my eyes when I was not crying or yelling. They suggested to my parents that I be admitted to the Children's Psychiatric Unit for an evaluation once I was completely medically stabilized and on a stable amount through the NJ tube. My parents wearily agreed. And that is the end of Chapter 1, Destiny's Secrets. Hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. Come back and check it out. I'm doing Chapter 2 really soon. I believe it is on March 11th that I'm reading. No, I think that's what's ever normal. I think it's March 20th that I'm reading Chapter 2 of Saving Destiny Re-Edited. But you'll have to check out my website, which is www.beccapapa.org, and see if that is when the next live is coming up. You can also go to my page, Living the Right Way, which is my page off of my Facebook page, and check it out there. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to share, comment, and subscribe. Love all you guys so much. I love that you're watching my videos. I love that you're getting stuff out of it. I love that my writing is being shared so I can make my mark on this world. This is really important to me. This is how I'm coping. This is how I'm dealing. This is how I feel better. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for watching these videos, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. Love y'all. Bye.